Hey everybody, it's banjo time, and we're going to go to the key of G, which is a wonderful key for the banjo always. An Alabama tune, Baby Ben. It goes back a pretty good ways. It's one of those tunes that every fiddler has some different variations they like to do on it. And the key of G is popular in Alabama. We're going to do it on the guitar and the banjo right now. I think it falls into place pretty good on the banjo.
Sounds beautiful on the banjo.
And it's one I think you'll like to put into your repertoire, I hope. So Baby Ben, key of G from Alabama. Here we go. Baby Ben in the key of G. That's a beautiful tune. I hit some of the right notes in some of the right places, so that's a good thing. Thank you, Erynn.
And the rest are bluesy.
The rest we're getting kind of on the bluesy territory. Baby Ben will get a little bluesy every now and then. So let's, I'll slide in here a little closer and let's explore those three parts. And we can do a little variation on the first part. That's the thing about the banjo. You got to finagle it, you know, go a little lower sometimes or go a little higher. And we'll see what we can discover here. So I'm in a G tuning, of course. For a G tune, that makes sense. That might be the only thing that makes sense in this lesson, but hopefully not. So you're starting out, the melody is kind of starts on the middle of the chord. You remember in G, you got the third string G, second string's a B, and you got the chord right there, bottom, middle, top of the chord. So it starts in the middle, and we'll do a little tuning checkpoint to the third fret. So we'll have a little, like a fiddle would do a unison. So we have open, 1 and 3. So we're going to do some drop thumb in there. So let's just warm up our right hand for a second. Let's just do a drop thumb. I'm doing my, and a lot of people might use their middle finger for the first string and index for the inside strings and thumb for any string. So I'm going to use my middle finger for the first string and my thumb will get the drop thumb. So string wise I'm going 1, 2. So let's just do a little warm up here going string wise 1, 2, 2, 3, and 3, 4. So I'm going across. So 1, 2, and then I move over with the index or my middle, index, thumb each time on the second note. So you kind of have that little traveling thing to get that. But I'm doing what's called a crossover. Instead of going 1, 2, 2, 3, I'm going, say, I guess I'm doing that. So let's do a little exercise. First string, and then your thumb on the second string, and then your index on the second. So that's a crossover lick, I call it. So I'm using, let's just use your index for all of them. Index, thumb, index. So you cross over on the same string. So you have to do that crossover lick to get that. You do it twice. So string wise, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. And there's that first phrase. So we also have a hammer. And then you start the little crossover waterfall. So let's just do that a couple times. That's the first phrase of Baby Ben. You have a little lead in, open 1 through with a slide, then the hammer, open 2, and then the crossover. It's just right down the scale. And then on the fiddle they go lower. We're going to have to stay on the 3rd string and do a little, he goes, I'm just going to go a little slide from 3 to 2. Make a little bluesier there. And we go to our C chord. And I'm leaving that 1st string open, even though it's kind of a haunting, it's not really in the chord. I like that kind of D note. It makes a little suspense, you know, just a pretty sound. Kind of a jazzy sound, or just a pretty sound. So here's the first phrase. So I'm going to do that a couple times. That's the first phrase, and that's all the G phrase getting into the C chord there. And I have a little hammer, and I'm leaving that 1st string open. So a little hammer, open 2 on the bass string, and the 3rd. And then we're going to get ready for the D phrase. Remember, the nice thing about this is the chords are just G, C, and D over and over, which is great. We can do a little backup exercise maybe before we wind up sometime here. So first phrase, 2nd string up to 3, slide, hammer, 1st string open 2, drop thumb to that 3rd string, right? And then there we just do a brush thumb and the bluesy slide, C chord. One more time. I'll do it one more time. I hesitated, sorry. Now the D phrase, we're going to be outlining like a little D7 chord, the 3rd string, 2nd fret, and the open going up to that. If I can get that where you can see it better. So I'll have a little pickup. So that's leading up to the phrase. So I'm going to do that a few times. I'm going up, 2 on the 3rd, open 2nd, to the 1st fret, bluesy note, right? And you do a little, do a hammer, I have a hammer. Brush, pull off, and a little 3/4 bluesy slide from 3 to 4 on the bass string. So let me just do that D phrase a few times. And then we're back to G. Okay, so let me do that D phrase one more time and I'll do the whole first part. We're going to have a 2nd ending. And that's the whole first part. And then we get up to some higher stuff, which is a lot of fun on the banjo. And that first part, you can actually play up high. We'll talk about that too before we finish everything up there. So here's the D phrase one more time, outlining a D7. Pull off, slide, open, right? 2, 4, 2, G. One more time on that. First part, and then I'll do the ending. The 2nd ending is going to be let's see, you're going to get do a little climb up the scale. So here's the whole first part, nice and slow. There's that C chord. Here's the D phrase coming up. Pull off, slide. 2, 4, 2, G. And starting over. 2nd string up to 3. Hammer, drop thumb twice. Bluesy slide, C chord. That D phrase is coming up again. Hammer, off twice. So that 2nd ending went down. Open 4, hammer, 2, 4. It's just going to the top of the scale for G. Walking up to G. And we have a little hammer. Okay, that's the first part. We'll come back around. 2nd part now. We're starting out the same there. Okay. Is that right? Let's see. Anyway, we're going to go. And you stay there and have a little, that's our first little entry point there. So you kind of hang there. Then we're going to get to go some nice, and the fiddle goes, banjo, we're going to streamline that a little bit. That's the thing about a banjo. Sometimes you say, well, the fiddle's going to do a lot of fluttery stuff, and you can do all that, which is great, but let's just go just kind of 3 notes with a little 5th string, 9, 7, 5, okay? And we're going to have a little C chord here, and the fiddle often just goes arpeggio-wise, but I also like doing, so you can go, you can get a lot of mileage out of that C chord there with some pull-offs and things. So first let's just go 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. So the phrase would be starting the second part, little hammer, 3 notes and a C. That's with the pull-off, or 3 notes and 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. Both are good. Now one more time. That's the start of the second part. 9, 7, 5, C chord, or arpeggio. Then we're going to go, we're climbing up from, think about your bar 7 as a D chord sound. We got a little bluesy walk here from 7, 9 to 10, and do a little. So I'm keeping my first finger on that 2nd string, 7th fret, just to keep that kind of D sound, so bluesy D sound. Then we're going to have a nice little pull off from 10 to 9. Then you go down to 7, and the 5th string, 4. So you can experiment with shifting there. So a pull off from 10 to 9. Then you got to shift down to 7 and hit that with 5th string follows and the 4th fret. Then you're going to have, let's see what happens there. We get a little flutter from 2 to 4 on the 1st string. A hammer, pull off. So 2's kind of anchored. 2, 4 hammer, back to 2 with a pull off. And then we're sliding the 3rd string. So let me just do that whole bit for the second part. Halfway through. 3 notes, and I'll do that little pull off. Alright, one more time. And then we're going to repeat that. I'll go ahead and repeat it nice and slow. You have a hammer, 3 notes, 9, 7, 5, C chord. We'll do the arpeggio this time. Then you're walking up from 7, bar 7, 2 strings, 7, 9, 10, brush, pull off 10, 9, 7, 5th string after that, 4. Then it's time, the second ending. It copies the thing we did in the first part, but higher up. So the ending phrase, hammer, open 4, 2, 4, 5. I'm putting the 5th string in there some. 5, 5, 7, 5. Okay, cool. That's the whole second part. Let me do it one more time, then we'll look at the third part, which gets into some fun. They kind of build momentum in this. The third part, the fiddler's kind of revved up a little bit. So here's the second part one more time. Bar 7, pull off twice. Repeat. Hammer, 3 notes, C chord. Bar 7 up to 10, pull off. All right, now the last part has a little dee 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 da dee 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 dee. So I'm going to get up here. I'm going to do. I'm using my first finger on the 7th fret, and then I get my second finger on the 2nd string, 8th fret, and I'm really aiming for that as a kind of a backward slant, and I get the 9th fret with my 3rd finger. So I do a pull off. You know, keep that chord, 2 fingers anchored, and my 3rd finger does a pull off. And the fun part here is you're going to do that, pull off, then your 1st finger gets an open string. So let's just try that. That's kind of a tricky maneuver, but I think it works pretty well. So I got my 7th fret, 1st finger, 1st string, 8th fret, 2nd string, 2nd finger, and then I put my 3rd finger on the 1st string, 9th fret, and I pull off. Then I get the 2nd string and pull off on that last note, so open 1st string. So that 1st finger comes off the very end. Then you got to get to this 5th fret and do a little hammer 5, 7. So I'll try that. It sounds like. So you have a pull off and then an open string pull off. Down to 5 anchor, 5, 7, 5, open pull off, 5. Okay. So we're going to go back and forth that 5, 7, 5 and slide a 9, brush. Then it gets easier. So let me let you hear that. Then you have hammer from 7 to 9 and the 7th fret and the 5th string. 5th string kind of gives you a lot of mileage in the melody there. We're going to go to the C chord finally. So it gets easier after that. So that's the hard part, but it builds up momentum for that 3rd part. Slide, hammer 7 to 9 with the 5th string. After that 7 comes back, C chord. Now we have a little different thing. Instead of going from, we had 9 up 10, we're going to go 4, 5, 7, and I'm going to get that same with 2 fingers. So it's going to be 4, you're going to get 3 notes on the 1st string, 4, 5, 7, and get that 7th fret on the 2nd string as a bar or different fingers. Then you go back to that 1st string, 5th string after. You have a little 4th fret, 1st string, and 5th fret with drop thumb and the open string. So let me do that a few times. 3 notes. We can see my hand here too. So 1, 2, 1, 5, drop thumb, open, 1st string. So string wise, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 5, 1, 2, 1. That's the strings. And you get a D7 chord and a pull off. And then let's see, what do we do? Let me get back. We're in the, let's see, 3rd part. Let me get in the, oh yeah, so we have that little pull off. Okay, and that's halfway through. I mean, that's halfway through the whole 3rd part. So let me do the whole 3rd part one time through. So we have that C chord, right, to be arpeggio. 4, 5, 7, get the chord, drop thumb. Do that again. First string, 3 notes. Drop thumb. Oh boy! So let me do the whole thing there. So you're getting a lot of work out there. The first part that went. You could also do up here on the high 12th fret. So you can kind of get up there and finesse, but I think it's nice just do it low because the fiddler's up a little higher. So I'll do it as the tab will have this sort of what I've done here. And feel free as you play it, you'll let things, add more things and take some stuff out. That's the way the banjo works the best. So here's all 3 parts of Baby Ben in the key of G, and we'll see what we got there. So nice and slow. Here I go. Twice, slide. G with a little hammer. You're starting over here. Outlines that D7, double pull offs. And now the 2nd part's coming up. Notes to a C. Up to that. Repeat that 2nd part. 3 notes. You can do arpeggios if you like instead. Now the 3rd part's coming up. 7. Drop thumb. might add that tag, this little ending again. Oh, that's so pretty. And you'll find your favorite ways to do things. If something seems awkward, maybe try leaving out some notes or try it a different way, you know. The basic premise on the banjo, you can get a lot of things on one string or you can do it on a couple of strings, you know. And your right hand, that crossover lick we talked about at the very first, keep that in mind as something just to work on. I love making up exercises to practice your phrase, or just practice your phrase over and over. Your trickiest spot, just do that over and over as an exercise. And it becomes easier. So enjoy Baby Ben, and check out, you know, James Bryan, of course, plays a wonderful version. Being from Alabama, he's the main proponent of that tune through the years, I think, and learned it from older fiddlers. So I hope you enjoy it. Key of G is a wonderful key, so pick on. Take care.